What I'm about to tell you will sound crazy. You'll probably think I'm being dramatic, maybe even paranoid. But here's the thing. 3 months ago, I would have said the same thing, until I saw what's really happening behind the scenes. Look, we all remember 2008, right? The housing crash, the bank failures, people losing everything overnight. That was brutal. But what's coming? It's not just another housing bubble or tech crash. This is something fundamentally different. Something that's going to reshape how money itself works in America. And before you click away, before we go any further, if this information resonates with you, hit that subscribe button. Because over the next few months, I'll be breaking down exactly how to protect yourself from what's coming. You don't want to miss that. Now, let me ask you something. Have you noticed how everything just costs more? And I don't mean a little more. I mean significantly more. Your grocery bill, your rent, your car insurance, even a simple night out feels like a luxury now. You're not imagining it. And it's not just inflation in the traditional sense. What we're experiencing right now is the early tremors of something much bigger. Think of it like this. When you see small cracks appearing in a dam, you don't wait for the whole thing to collapse before you move to higher ground. Here's what nobody in Washington wants to admit. The United States government currently owes $36 trillion. Let that sink in for a second. 36 trillion. That's $36,000 billion. The interest payment alone on that debt, it's now over $1 trillion per year. That's more than we spend on defense, more than we spend on Medicare. But here's where it gets terrifying. Every single second that ticks by, we're adding $40,000 to that debt. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, another $40,000 just got added, and again, and again. Now you might be thinking, okay, debt is bad, but we've always had debt. What's different this time? Here's what's different. For decades, we could get away with this because the dollar was untouchable. Everyone needed dollars for international trade. Want to buy oil? You need dollars. Want to do business globally? You need dollars. The dollar was king. But that's changing, and it's changing fast. Countries like China, Russia, Brazil, India, they're forming alliances. They're creating alternative systems. They're quietly moving away from the dollar. And when that happens, when the dollar loses its reserve currency status, all those dollars floating around the world, they come flooding back home. Imagine you're at an auction. There are 10 people bidding on a house. Normal prices, normal competition. Now suddenly, 100 more people show up with money to spend. What happens to prices? They explode. That's what happens when all those overseas dollars come home. Too much money chasing too few goods. But this isn't your grandfather's inflation. This is something economists have a special word for, something that terrified policymakers in the 1970s, stagflation. Here's why stagflation is a nightmare. In a normal recession, prices fall because nobody's buying anything. In normal growth, prices rise a bit, but so do wages and opportunities. Stagflation is the worst of both worlds. The economy stalls, jobs disappear, but prices keep climbing anyway. Picture this. You lose your job or your hours get cut. Meanwhile, your rent goes up, your food costs more, gas prices spike. You're making less, but everything costs more. That's not a recession. That's an economic vice grip. And we're already seeing the signs. Tech layoffs are accelerating. Major corporations are cutting thousands of jobs, but your grocery bill isn't going down. Your utility bills aren't dropping. Something's deeply wrong with this picture. Now here's where it gets personal. Because this isn't just about numbers on a screen or economic theories. This is about your life, your savings, your future. Let's talk about your retirement account, your 401k, your savings account. Right now, they might look fine on paper. The numbers haven't changed much. But here's the brutal truth. The purchasing power of that money is evaporating. If you saved $100,000 5 years ago, that money might still say $100,000 on your bank statement. But in real terms, in what it can actually buy, it's worth maybe $70,000 or $75,000 in today's dollars. And it's getting worse. The middle class is being hollowed out, not through some conspiracy, but through basic economics. When you can't save because costs keep rising, when you can't invest because you're living paycheck to paycheck, when a medical emergency or car breakdown can wipe out months of careful budgeting. That's how it happens. But wait, there's another layer to this, something most people aren't paying attention to. We're in the middle of a technological revolution. AI is getting smarter by the day. Automation is accelerating. And when the economic pressure really hits, when companies are desperate to cut costs, what do you think happens? Jobs that seemed safe suddenly aren't. Customer service? Automated. Data entry? Automated. Even creative work, writing, design, coding. AI is coming for all of it, not in some distant future, right now. And here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. When this economic pressure combines with technological displacement, we're not just talking about a rough few years. We're talking about a fundamental restructuring of the job market. Young people graduating right now are walking into a buzzsaw. They've got student debt, they're competing with AI and automation, and they're entering a job market that's about to contract significantly. Unless they're in very specific fields, they're going to struggle. But here's what really keeps me up at night, and I want you to really hear this part. When economic systems break down, when people are struggling, desperate, scared, societies change, and not always for the better. Look at history. The Great Depression led to massive political upheaval across the world. Economic crisis in Germany helped fuel the rise of extremism. The Arab Spring started with food prices and unemployment. Venezuela went from one of the richest countries in South America to people fleeing by the millions. I'm not saying we're headed there, but I am saying that when people can't feed their families, when they feel the system has failed them, they become open to radical solutions. They start looking for someone to blame. They support policies they normally wouldn't. We're already seeing the polarization, the anger, the finger pointing. Economic stress amplifies all of that. It turns neighbors against each other. It erodes social trust. It makes people vulnerable to manipulation. Now I know what you're thinking. This all sounds pretty dark, pretty hopeless. So let me tell you why I'm actually making this video. Because knowledge is power. Because being aware means you can prepare. Because every crisis also creates opportunities for those who see it coming. Think about the people who saw the 2008 crash coming. The ones who positioned themselves correctly. They didn't just survive, they thrived. Not because they were lucky, but because they understood what was happening and took action. So what can you actually do? Let me give you some real actionable steps. First, skills. I cannot stress this enough. The job market is changing whether we like it or not. You need to become someone who can't easily be replaced. That means developing skills that AI can't replicate. Human connection, creative problem solving, strategic thinking, leadership. These matter more than ever. Second, diversification. If all your wealth is in one place, you're exposed. Have some cash. Have some hard assets. Understand different investment vehicles. Don't put all your faith in the stock market or real estate or crypto. Spread your risk. Third, build resilience. That emergency fund everyone talks about, it's not optional anymore. You need at least 6 months of expenses saved, maybe more. Because when things get tight, having that buffer is the difference between making it through and going under. Fourth, community. This might sound soft, but it's crucial. Strong networks, real relationships, people you can rely on and who can rely on you. When systems strain, communities that stick together fare much better than isolated individuals. Fifth, stay informed, but don't panic. Understanding what's happening is different from being paralyzed by fear. Make rational decisions based on solid information, not emotional reactions to scary headlines. And here's something else. Start thinking about multiple income streams. The days of relying on one job for 40 years are over. Side businesses, freelancing, passive income. These aren't luxuries anymore. They're necessities. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying the world is ending. I'm not telling you to panic, to hoard gold bars in your basement, or to move to a bunker in Montana. What I am saying is this: we're entering a period of significant economic transformation. The old rules are changing. The systems we relied on are under strain. And those who prepare, who adapt, who position themselves correctly, they're going to be okay, more than okay. Because here's the thing about disruption. It's terrifying for those who cling to the old ways, but it's liberating for those who embrace the new reality. After the Great Depression came the greatest economic expansion in human history. After 2008 came the tech boom and unprecedented innovation. After COVID came the acceleration of remote work and digital transformation. Every crisis creates winners and losers. The difference isn't luck, it's preparation, it's mindset. It's being willing to see reality clearly instead of hoping everything will magically work out. So let me tell you what I'm doing personally. I'm building skills that matter in any economy. I'm diversifying my assets. I'm creating multiple income streams. I'm building real relationships. I'm staying informed. I'm preparing my family. And I'm not doing it out of fear. I'm doing it out of responsibility. Because the best time to fix your roof is before the storm hits. You're watching this video, which means you already sense something's off. You already feel the pressure building. Trust that instinct. Don't let anyone tell you you're being paranoid or dramatic. The people who will struggle most in what's coming are the ones who refuse to see it, who keep their heads in the sand, who assume someone else will fix everything. But you're different. You're here. You're listening. You're thinking about the future instead of just hoping for the best. So here's my challenge to you. In the next 24 hours, take one concrete action. Just one. Maybe it's starting that emergency fund. Maybe it's researching a new skill to learn. Maybe it's having an honest conversation with your family about finances. One action. That's all I'm asking, because action beats anxiety every single time. And listen, I'm going to keep making these videos. I'm going to keep breaking down what's happening, what it means, and what you can do about it. But I need you to do something for me. If this resonated with you, if you found value in this, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, because the information I'm sharing could literally change your financial future. And in the coming months, as things develop, you're going to want to stay updated. More importantly, share this with people you care about. Your friends, your family, your colleagues, the people who would benefit from understanding what's really happening. Because the more people who prepare, the more resilient we all become. Drop a comment and let me know. What's your biggest concern about the economy right now? What are you doing to prepare? I read every comment and your insights help shape future videos. Look, I get it. This isn't comfortable stuff to think about. It would be easier to ignore it, to pretend everything's fine, to just keep scrolling to the next entertaining video. But you didn't do that. You watched this whole video. You're still here. That tells me something about you. It tells me you're serious. You're thoughtful. You're willing to face uncomfortable truths. Those are exactly the qualities that are going to matter in the years ahead. Not denial, not wishful thinking, but clear-eyed realism combined with proactive preparation. So yeah, things are going to get challenging. The economic landscape is shifting beneath our feet. The old certainties are crumbling. But that doesn't mean you're powerless. Every single day, you make choices. Small choices, big choices. And those choices compound over time. The choice to learn instead of zone out. The choice to save instead of spend. The choice to build skills instead of coast. The choice to face reality instead of hide from it. Make those choices wisely. Make them consistently. And when the storm hits, and trust me, it's coming, you'll be ready. Not just ready to survive, ready to thrive. I'll see you in the next video, where we're going to dive deep into specific investment strategies for this exact scenario. What to buy, what to avoid, and how to position your portfolio for maximum protection and growth. Until then, stay sharp, stay prepared, and remember, the future belongs to those who see it coming. Take care.